Almost half of the world's population now lives in urban areas. Here in Africa alone, we have 3 mega cities: Cairo, Lagos, and Kinshasa, each home to around 20 million people with the corresponding environmental challenges. But there is no shortage of creative minds and solutions among the residents. Join us as we explore some ideas that make big cities more livable. Welcome to Echo Africa. I'm Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia, and here's my co-host, Chris Elens.
Hello everyone, and greetings from Lagos, Nigeria. Thanks for joining us today. Here is what we have coming up.
How citizens in Egypt find simple fixes to cool down their neighborhoods. How tourism in Berlin is getting greener. How an entrepreneur from Nigeria turns waste into opportunity.
We all know those TV talent shows. Always entertaining, right? They can launch new careers. But how about competition that helps to boost the environment? In Uganda, we sent our reporter to get the lowdown on a dance-off with a difference, where it's not just about the moves, but also a mission.
The jury is ready. Let the competition begin.
Myaka 50 yenyuma abantu kabaturaje obwe twatwine byo kurya biri kumara endiso nemboga emboga twatwine mukeshwiga eshoji turuguma byo nakisigitirana nebihimba tukore emboga za kimata abantu bakiriya bagira amagara marungi.
Each entry must convey a message about the environment. The Karangara Wildlife Conservation Group is hoping to qualify for the next round. Their goal, to become the best performance group in Uganda's southwestern Kanungu district. The Dancing for Nature competition was launched in 2017 by climate activist Herbert Banovi.
The sweetest dance you can talk about is the dance of nature. When a tree is being swung by the wind, it is a natural rhythmic movement responding to the force of the wind, and I find myself almost moving with the wind, moving with the tree, sharing as if we are in a real dance.
He heads up an environmental NGO and uses performance art to highlight the need to protect the environment in places where traditional media have little impact.
So our other method, which we think is community friendly and community powerful, is to use the music, dance and drama, and then by that we are finding the reasoning capacities of the community to enter into thinking about how the environment was and will be in future.
In the hills of Kanungu, the changing climate means heavy rainstorms are becoming more common. That resulting landslides destroy riverbanks, fields and houses. Farmers are partly to blame as they clear forests and drain wetlands for farming. Away from the competition, participants learn important lessons. These planted walls of earth, known as contour bands, stop rainwater gushing down the slope. Herbert Banovi, a biologist by profession, explains how they work.
So we dig trenches and we make a mound kind of where we put the soil down, and when the water comes, it lands in the trench. And when it stays there for a day, it now sinks within the soil.
Back to the competition, the Nyakitandara Vision Club is also hoping to reach the next round. After their dance, they perform a song. Engaging with these environmental issues has inspired the contestants to take action.
In our village, we formed a group of 10 people. We began by collecting polythene bags and plastic bottles after learning that they harm our soil. Once we understood their impact, we started gathering them. We also visited various homes and planted the trees that we had been performing about.
The trees are needed. The bank of the Nyarwande River has collapsed. Herbert Banovi's NGO has provided seedlings that they grew themselves. Once established, the adult trees will prevent further landslides. The species was chosen especially for its deep roots.
So this is known as Coriander tree. It has very powerful roots and they go fast. So we expect them to go and bind the whole soil so that there is no more erosion taking away this soil.
Wetlands, wetlands, wetlands. How wonderful you are. How useful you are. Oh, wetlands. People are proud of you because you are the mother of life.
In the competition, there is a surprise. Suddenly, a third group appears unannounced, reciting a poem on the importance of wetlands. It turns out that it's actually the first team of contestants in a different outfit. The poem should have come earlier. That loses them points. The jury then reaches a decision. And the winner is the second team that sang the song.
So the best one is that one who has done much more research. So that is how the grading takes place.
They told us how we can protect the environment through the song, and they told us what causes climate change, and they even told us the importance of an environment when it was still beautiful in the past.
But no one leaves empty-handed. Beehives are given out free of charge, allowing everyone to earn some extra money without harming the environment.
Waste in crowded cities is one problem, but intense heat is another. Take Cairo. By 2050, the Egyptian capital could be seeing summers with more than 40 days in excess of 45 degrees Celsius. An international team of architects and urban planners is joining forces with residents to create simple, eco-friendly solutions for reducing heat stress that can be implemented locally, and the results are as practical as they are innovative.
A densely packed neighborhood. A team of architects, researchers, and a local craftsman, plus simple everyday building materials from the streets around them. What brings them together? They are in Ardaliwa, one of Cairo's most crowded informal housing developments, and home to an estimated 500,000 people. The various experts have joined forces to find low-tech ways of beating the summer heat. Temperatures in Egypt's capital have been rising due to climate change. Heat waves last longer and often peak at above 40 degrees Celsius. And in places like Ardaliwa, it can feel even hotter.
The way streets and buildings are designed really affects how you feel the heat. And with a population the size of Greater Cairo and the associated conditions, you can actually feel temperatures that are 5 to 6 degrees higher than what's officially recorded.
Ahmed Mukhtar has been living and working here for years. Some time ago, the local craftsman and visual artist found his own way of staying cool in his rooftop premises.
I started taking apart the conventionally built wooden ceiling. Then I began adding openings like ventilation gaps, placed in the direction of the wind. And it worked great. The temperature dropped considerably and the atmosphere completely changed.
But as buildings around him rose taller, the air stopped flowing and the space became stifling again. Fortunately, Mukhtar is part of the cluster team, the group of architects and urban planners from Egypt and further afield. With financial support from partners and a Netherlands-based cultural program, they develop green and affordable solutions for combating heat stress, with one example being Mukhtar's studio.
Electricity keeps getting more expensive, and most people simply can't afford to install an air conditioner. So there's definitely an important economic side to it, but there's also an environmental aspect. Mechanical solutions might give you better indoor comfort, but they also push more heat, pollution and CO2 outside.
So instead of eco-unfriendly technology, how about making the most of existing options? The marshabia, for example, is a wooden lattice screen that blocks direct sunlight while slowing the airflow. Traditionally, people will place clay jugs full of water next to it in order to cool the incoming breeze. The idea now is to update the concept with modern materials.
We're designing screens that can be placed in front of balconies and windows, and through incorporating also ceramics, and which can be watered, and then through evaporative cooling can help cool the units on the inside.
As for the heat management in Ahmed Mukhtar's rooftop studio, the cluster team ended up choosing a design based on the solar chimney principle, a technique used in ancient times by Persian and Roman architects to create passive cooling.
It works like a greenhouse. The sun heats the metal, the air inside warms up and stays trapped. Then it starts to rise and escape through the opening we made for it.
This is where the experimental part of the undertaking begins. The team starts scouting local stores and workshops for materials that are low-cost and low-key, such as wood, old corrugated metal sheeting and plastic, all for a prototype. By the end, it's taken almost 8 months from the initial idea to completion of the solar chimney, until the moment arrives when the structure is hoisted up and installed in the artist's studio. It might not look perfect, but the point here is not form but function, and an affordable solution.
Projects like this can be extremely effective. They offer real, lasting solutions. And the cultural mindset here is, don't waste time overthinking an idea that works. So the model could easily spread to other buildings or neighborhoods.
One rooftop, one artist, one prototype, built for a specific space, but probably transferable to many others like it.
From the narrow alleyways of Cairo to the big, broad boulevards of the German capital, Berlin's rich history, culture, creative energy, and nightlife have made it one of Europe's most visited destinations. But that popularity means an extra burden on the environment. Behind the bars, the city is quietly working to minimize the impact of tourism.
It's a highlight for many visitors to Berlin, exploring the city by boat. But the solar Suncat is a little special. With 0 emissions, it glides silently along the River Spree, powered only by the sun. Boat owner Louisa Ahrens first had the idea in 2010, when looking for an alternative to the large diesel-powered vessels. She says they consume up to 40 litres of fuel per hour.
Solar-powered boats don't damage the shoreline, they don't smell, they're silent, so I didn't get why they weren't being used.
Features like these make Berlin one of the most sustainable tourist destinations worldwide. More on that later. First, a group of US students from Massachusetts is exploring the trendy district of Kreuzberg. The Querstadt Ein Association offers city tours featuring personal stories on themes like homelessness or migration driven by climate change. City guide Mohammed Lamin Jadama was born in Gambia. He's lived in Berlin for over 10 years. In his homeland, he saw fishermen returning home with ever smaller catches and farmers harvesting less and less due to droughts. Now in Berlin, he's observed a very different way of life.
I was kind of surprised in a sense of overconsumption, and all this waste mostly end up in my country or where I come from, and To get rid of those waste materials, people just burn them or throw them into the river.
The German capital is home to just under 4 million people. In 2025, nearly 30 million overnight stays were booked in guest accommodation across the city. So that's quite an influx of people. Despite the crowds, Berlin has moved up to 4th place in the Global Destination Sustainability Index for metropolises and megacities.
GDSI is a ranking system created by an association of international travel destinations. The association has set a goal to make its locations sustainable in terms of tourism and event management. So it basically measures the sustainability performance of a destination.
By measuring how sustainable the hotels are, for example. This one scores well. The Vienna House in East Berlin offers charging stations for electric vehicles and has its own repair workshop. Admin is largely digital, which saves paper. There's a beekeeper who keeps bees in the inner courtyard. They supply the honey for the hotel's breakfast buffet. Leftover buffet food is sold at a low price via an app to avoid food waste. Visitors looking for a place to stay in Berlin can search specifically for eco-hotels or other sustainable accommodations. 10 kilometers south of the hotel lies Tempelhofer Feld, a former inner-city airport. The last plane took off from here in 2008. The 300-hectare complex was then opened for Berliners and tourists. Some new residents have also moved in. Planes have given way to sheep. Around 100 animals graze the area to protect the skylark, a rare bird that only breeds on the ground. Lawn mowers would destroy their nests. Sheep now graze in several of Berlin's parks. They've become a tourist attraction in their own right. But it's not all idyllic. Litter is a problem throughout the city. Every year, 45,000 tons of waste end up on the streets of Berlin. Discarded coffee cups are especially plentiful.
A long-term study by Berlin's Humboldt University found that people feel that litter from single-use products is the biggest blot on the landscape in major German cities. Even more than dog poop, and 40% of the garbage in public trash cans is single-use packaging.
Pilot projects are addressing the coffee cup issue with deposit machines. If users return the cups, they get money back. However, the machines are still few and far between. The US students are also getting the message that more needs to be done. The tour has got many of them thinking. In their conversations with tour guide Mohammed, many are starting to see the bigger picture.
It makes you almost feel a little guilty, and I think it makes you feel more conscious of your lifestyle. And before you buy something, before you throw something away, to always be more careful, to understand that it does have effects on people around the world.
Not something passengers on board the boat appear to have thought of. Most of them told us that their choice of a solar-powered boat was just a coincidence. It seems sustainability is becoming something many people take for granted. The fleet now has 3 solar boats. All of them are fully booked during the summer season.
Now, we meet an amazing woman from here in Nigeria. Rita Idehai is a geoscientist and social entrepreneur based in Abuja, and her work spans so many areas. I don't really know where to start. She's invented West Africa's first recycling vending machine, is a champion of women's empowerment, and sees waste not as a problem, but as an opportunity. But let's hear the full story from her.
Every plastic bottle that you trash can either pollute our streets or create value. My name is Rita Idei. I'm the founder and CEO of EcoBata, where we are turning waste into opportunities. So what happens to waste, especially household waste in Nigeria, is terrible. Right now, 90%, according to the World Bank statistics, of the waste that we generate in our homes end up burnt on open dumps or disposed along drainage ways. How we manage our waste currently contributes the third largest to our greenhouse gas emission in Nigeria. Where we are is a rented property, and so we've divided the area, to handle different materials. So here you have the PET plastics. Over there you have the we call them art plastics. So PP, HDPE, different types of plastic. Like, as you can see, the broken chairs, just art plastics generally. So this is our sort of processing area. We have the baling machine that we use in compressing the plastic bottles into bales. So these are called bales. So the compressing it makes the cost of logistics better, so that we can then send them over to Lagos to the off-takers and manufacturers that use them. So the women that we work with here, are mostly local community women, housewives, just some of them are widows, just again, typically underserved women in Kuje community. So what the women do here is that they sort out the plastic bags that we collect, so pure water sachets, single-use plastic bags, process it and weave it on traditional floor looms into fabric that we've called plabric. And then these plabrics, we make them into finished products like bags, like shoes, mats, and even more recently, clothing. Adam, where are the men that are sewing? They say we don't have any man. Because they don't have the requisite skills, the opportunities are way limited for them. Societal norms also keep them within certain limits. So these are women that either have children, are from a certain region or a certain belief, and naturally or societally they can't even go past their community to find work. They have to be around, and our program enables them to be able to live their lives the way the society has created for them, but also then go the extra length of making income. The biggest challenge that I faced starting EcoBata was actually knowledge. When I decided that I wanted to do this, I didn't even know who to sell the material to. I didn't know anything. I didn't understand the sales cycle. There was so much information that I didn't know and I couldn't get online. When I did my research on the technologies that were important in recycling, there was vending machine. I remember calling my tech friend to say, can we build this? That was the question, right? Can we build this? And him in his stupidity said, of course we can build it. We've not built it before, but if it's something that is anywhere in the world, we can replicate it. And so that was how the journey started. So this is a reverse vending machine, the first locally manufactured one in Nigeria and in fact in Africa. So when you come to this machine with your plastic or beverage can, you press on start. When you press start, then you put in your bottles one after the other, as many as you've come to the machine with. You scan the QR code, it takes you to our mobile application where you can then transfer the money that you've earned into your bank account, buy airtime, electricity or data. Currently in Abuja, we have 26 of this machine, and in Lagos, we have 2 of these machines. People would think recycling was only for the poor, but with this machine now, first is neat, it's clean, it's technology, right? So everybody is interested. Prior to now, we had, I think, about 3,000 people on our platform. Now we have close to 13,000 people within 1 year. Honestly, I would say that just changing the narrative of who should recycle and what recycling is about is the biggest impact that this machine has made. So my hope and vision for the next generation, when it comes to environmental protection and recycling is that they see that it's everybody's responsibility and you can start from anywhere. So knowing that from scratch, from zero naira, from squatting in a place. I've built something that, you know, is a sort of livelihood to this number of people is something I'm most proud of. Knowing that this small girl built something this amazing is a thing of pride for me.
And with those good vibes, it's goodbye from me, Chris Alems in Lagos, Nigeria. See you next week.
Well, and it's a goodbye from me, Malama Mukonde, in Lusaka, Zambia. You can find plenty more Echo Africa stories online, and please write to us and share your thoughts at echo@dw.com. See you next week.